On the 20th of February 1937, the Nazis staged the 50th anniversary of the Berlin Automobile Exhibition. A huge new memorial hall had been built, with Hitler performing the dedication ceremonies. Accompanying Hitler was Hermann Göring, commander of the Air Force. Touring the exhibition, Göring took a liking to the Mercedes-Benz 500K Roadster. He already owned one, but he asked Mercedes if they could custom build a special Roadster for him, with a bigger 5.4-litre engine and bulletproof and bomb-proof glass and door armour. When Göring tried to sit in the driver's seat of the display model, his girth meant the steering wheel was jammed into his huge stomach. Mercedes agreed to change the driver's compartment. Finally, Göring ordered that his new car be painted in aviation blue, a metallic sky blue colour that was his favourite. The car was ready for Göring by July 1937. He was thrilled, and during a test run got the car up to 160 kilometers an hour. It was a gift from Hitler and had a commemorative plate affixed to the glove box declaring this. In the winter of 1940-41, Göring returned the car to Mercedes-Benz as the paint had faded. This was a problem with early metallic paints. It was resprayed in a less metallic, darker blue scheme. Another problem was Göring's increased weight. Even with the enlarged driving compartment, his expanding waistline caused the steering wheel to rub against his belly. Mercedes solved this by reducing the driver's rear cushion thickness by 4 inches. From 1941 onwards, the Mercedes was kept at Göring's house on the Obersalzberg, close to Hitler's private home, the Berghof. With the war clearly lost, Göring arrived on the Obersalzberg for the last time in late April 1945. Göring was later arrested on Hitler's orders and placed into the custody of the SS at Mautendorf Castle in Austria, but his car remained behind on the Obersalzberg. Shortly before Göring's removal from the Obersalzberg, the British Royal Air Force bombed the private Nazi sanctuary, severely damaging Hitler's house and many other top Nazis' houses. Göring's house was half demolished by a direct hit, but the car was safe, parked with a large black Mercedes-Benz 770 parade limousine in the underground garage of the nearby Platterhof Hotel. The two cars were discovered by men of the 326th Engineer Company, 101st Airborne Division, on the 4th of May 1945. The US paratroopers fanned out to check the damaged buildings of the Obersalzberg, which had already been briefly visited by French troops of the 2nd Armoured Division. The two cars were dirty with mud, but apparently intact. Worried about booby traps, Staff Sergeant Robert Smiley took aim at the driver's side window on Göring's special Roadster and fired his M1 carbine twice. The car was left with an ugly star of cracks on the driver's side window and a bullet through the bumper. Looking inside, Smiley saw that the keys were in the ignition. After several attempts, Smiley got the car running. The 7th of May, Germany surrendered. US troops celebrated with large quantities of wine and cognac from the cellars of the Nazi leaders' houses. The two captured Mercedes were taken on joyrides around the area until orders came from above. Major General Maxwell D. Taylor took an instant liking to the Blue Goose as the men of the 326th Engineer Company had christened Göring's car. He ordered his 2-star general's identification plate mounted on the front, and Taylor used it briefly as a staff car. Soon afterwards, it was decided to use both captured German cars to help sell war bonds in America. 2nd Lieutenant James Cox volunteered for the assignment with 10 men of the 101st Airborne. In August 1945, the cars departed for America. 2 short tours of the US were made just after the war had ended. In August 1946, the Blue Goose was at the Indianapolis 500 Speedway, making laps at a 101st Airborne Division reunion. In 1956, the Blue Goose was deemed surplus government property and auctioned off at the Aberdeen Proving Ground in Maryland. Sold for $2,167 to Jake Tunnick of Greenwich, Connecticut. In 1958, veterinary surgeon Dr. George Bitgood Jr. bought the Blue Goose from Tunnick. He purchased the Blue Goose for $10,000. Bitgood had the Blue Goose repainted black and re-chromed. He painted out Göring's coat of arms, which were on each of the doors. He left the bullet-damaged glass in the driver's side window and the bullet hole in the bumper. The car was publicly displayed only once in 1973. In 1993, Dr. Bitgood died at the age of 88. After a legal dispute, a decision was made to restore the Blue Goose back to how it looked when it was owned by Hermann Göring. As much original wear and tear as possible had been left untouched on the car, including the bullet damage. But once again it is sky blue, just as it looked when the men of the 101st Airborne Division captured it in May 1945. And if you're wondering how much it's worth, its estimated value is between $5 and $7 million. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share, and also support my channel at PayPal and Patreon. Details in the description box below.